of all our broken ways. Give me a signal.
Welcome back, everybody, to sunny Bucharest, Romania. We're live from the PGL studio for, of course, the GLL PUBG Season 1 Grand Finals. And we are now officially halfway through our day, not to.
Have you actually seen the sun today?
Yeah,
Since
when
the
we
morning?
woke up, it was quite warm.
I know, but since the morning.
Are
you sure it's sunny right now?
Our graphic, our wonderful video team has shown it's sunny. You know, those were live feeds.
Right,
in that
okay.
intro.
Oh, okay. We have a camera car going around the city all the time, picking up the best
Like
spots.
10 different
wow,
cameras.
we're taking
Yeah.
this production to the next level.
I know,
We
right?
definitely are.
Andy, how you feeling halfway through the day?
I'm feeling really well.
Yeah?
Yep, I'm
Good.
feeling good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, right now, I'd like to remind everybody at home that this is Season 1, but we can happily announce that you can now start signing up for Season 2 of GLL PUBG, and all you need to do is go to play.gll.gg, and it's a very easy process, so go and get involved. If you want to compete like the guys next door, that's all you have to do. And talking about the guys next door, let's do a little recap of what's happened so far, and we can also take a look at the teams that are in the lead. Na'Vi are sitting at the very top, correct?
100 points
They
ahead.
should, yeah,
Yep.
they should be.
They've been having a consistently great performance across the board.
Some would call a stellar performance. I think this was the game 4.
Yes, that was
Right.
the game that we just saw, game 4 of 16, as you can
Should
see on the
have
left-hand side.
Nearly 400 points soon. on
Yes.
Navi, and they're leading at least with 100 points from phase to second. And we'll see
Yeah,
soon.
we had a bit of an unfortunate game.
It's actually Team Kingwin this time actually managed to go into game 4 into top 5, which is good for them. So they're climbing up slightly above that.
Well, no,
Yeah.
and you can tell, like, from the teams that have consistently been, like, in the later stage of the game, Optic Gaming only had 7 kills so far.
I think it's...
About these games.
It's a rotations, you don't always get the best position to shoot the rotation phase or gatekeep anymore, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually have some statistics from those top 4 teams. Na'Vi at the very
I like the
top #1 position. We can see they have a total amount of kills amounting to 182, placement points 2,480, and their total points sit at 3,936 at this point of Season 1. Moving on to FaZe, the apparently hotly tipped to win the tournament. FaZe Clan, they have a total amount of kills.
I mean, they have 2 fins, so they obviously are.
Of course, of 222, placement points 2,865, and a total amount of points of 4,429. Now, Team Crimson, who just had a decent showing in that 4th matchup, and they were doing pretty good in the 3rd as well. Yeah, I know, they took it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in that 3rd one, they had a good showing also, and they have total kills amounting to 114, placement points 2,560, and total points of 3,400. Then finally, the guys that I think we should definitely highlight and note are Lumbermill, a team that are currently unsigned. They have their own custom. Maybe who do you think photoshopped that logo on the team?
It must have been a.
I think it's the guy on the very left.
Really? You
Yeah,
reckon?
he looks like he's got an artist's
I
eye.
think that logo cost them millions. they've had a professional designer who does like logos
outside
for like NHL,
esports,
NHL
yeah,
teams.
You think? I would
Yeah.
say more like into like proper business side of logo designs. You feel me? Like a
Sure.
milk factory or no. I don't know. You know, products you can eat and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I just think it's great to see that one of our Dark Horse teams
Such
is
as wood, yeah.
currently sitting in a strong position. And guys, do you know, what do you think at this point of the competition, so like a quarter of the way through our matches, they're going to be feeling knowing that they're sitting in a decent spot?
Well, it's only 4 games down, so anything can happen. Like Lumbermill could have actually made a lot better in the game 4, but they accidentally left the best position. But you never know, like what happens with the circle. They unfortunately moved into the chargeable side and lost 3 out of 4 members in that rotation, and then there was Kane anymore left there on the tower just sitting. So
And also in the previous game, you know, they would have
Yeah.
they could have had a really good crossfire, like you pointed out,
Yeah.
Periphery
Yeah.
and Boogie in those 2.
My man.
they're doing well in the rotations and stuff, but like in the end, they little unfortunate situations happen, and it cost them.
Well, if you all at home take a look right in front of you, and we in the studio do the same. On our screen, we can see some pretty interesting stats for the guys sitting in the top 6, well, the top scoring team so far in our first 4 games. What stands out to you guys? We see Na'Vi using a lot of heals. Is that potentially why they're able to continue pushing so far into these games?
No, I think it's just, you know, they're obviously getting a lot of kills, they're getting to a lot of fights, they have to heal. And it makes sense in that sense if you think about it. Obviously, they're both, average placement is high, but they're also getting into a lot of engagement, and that's equaling them leading the chart now.
Yeah, we look at that they have the most revives. So basically, I'm talking about that they've been the most in full team versus team combat situations compared to others.
And FaZe, who had a great first 3 games, who then slightly fell off in the 4th that we just saw, their total kills have barely changed in that last match, and now Crimson and Rogue have actually overtaken them. Is that a big factor in what's put them behind, that they just couldn't handle the gunfights in that last map?
I mean, it was more unfortunate rotational, like Andy was talking about.
The FaZe one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was basically just a misplay rotations, nothing else. I talked with the FaZe boys, and they had the situation that they both went to the basically wrong side of the house.
Yes, I mentioned it before.
It was, yeah, it was. They assumed that there would have been people on the house side, so that's why they didn't go there. But they went to the open, so they had at least 3 teams shooting at them. And when you need to run from one door, you cannot bolt in from the bars. You need to run from one door. They got stuck there and they executed basically.
They got stuck in the bar.
They got stuck in front of the door.
Natu, so
Moving swiftly along.
Natu, so at this point, is there any team that's standing out to you as a clear favorite?
No, so far Na'Vi has definitely been the stallions of the bunch, if you will.
Okay.
Individual play, team play, their rotations being on point, and they just really seem to be a step ahead a lot of times. We've seen them do peeks into the blue even when they needed to. I think it was game 2 in the closing stages where we saw a player that was trying to make a cheeky play, but then they pushed into the blue to take that pick, right? So it just showcases that they're really dialed in, and as they've shown, as they said themselves, they're just all they're here to do is to play and focus only on winning and focus only on playing the game, and it is showing so far. But it's a marathon. It's obviously we're just only 4 games deep, so there's a lot more here to be played, and obviously things can change dramatically even through the bottom half of this day. So,
and for our teams that are lower down in the tournament currently, how much of an effect is that going to have on their minds and keeping their heads in the game, especially for those that are less experienced?
I'm sure this little break has been resetting the brains a little bit, but what I've seen in my past of tournaments is normally that the day 1, even though how bad it might be, the next day is always a fresh day. So basically, in every single tournament that I've been in, even though you might be doing bad on the first day, the second day, somehow the team has been stepped up and basically got out of that
slump.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed. And so, talking about these guys coming here, it's for some of them like a huge opportunity to get themselves noticed. And could it be, you know, going on in this tournament that we're going to see some other dark horses other than Lumber rise to the top?
I mean, it's for me, this game is still in such an early stage as an esport, right? So there's a lot of little things that can go in a specific day in the way of certain team.
So many teams are in the same line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's not like a massive disparity between the level of these teams. There's a couple that really do showcase that they seem to be a bit of a step ahead. You name the FaZes. Na'Vi has definitely shown today that they are in that discussion for sure. But then the rest of it is still a bit of a, I don't want to say a gray mass, but it's sort of like just a bundle of teams that are in very similar skill level.
And talking about Na'Vi, what do you think so far has been their strongest suit? I think beforehand, just to recap everybody at home, we were talking about their team play and just being active around the map and securing crucial points in those very important rotations.
Yeah, I mean, in Counter-Strike I use the term buddy system, and I think it works here as well. And it means that you're trading well, you're listening to what your teammate is doing, you make good decision making according to what your teammate is doing in any specific situation. Meaning, if someone is breaching from one side, you know, you're always knowing exactly what you need to do yourself, so that you are trying to help.
It should be a chain reaction.
Huh?
Exactly, chain reaction.
Yeah, exactly, and a chain reaction of positive things happening consistently every single time they make a play. For example, they were in that last game. I mentioned they went to the compound just south of George, next to the 3 warehouses, and that's in between the harbor and the south side of George. And they got in there just before everyone else was trying to rotate to the similar position. They got the compound, they got the kills, and then put themselves in a position where they still had the room to wiggle with and decide on which side they wanted to really commit to. And then eventually they went to the warehouses. They got into one of the big warehouses, and they were the ones that were basically waiting for majority of the teams to be moving up from the south apartments of George. And obviously, since it's such a wide opening, you are in a very good position to clinch it.
And talking about decision making, when you're in game, Andy, do you guys have clear in-game leaders, or are decisions being made as a group and there are sort of like other people pitching in?
There's a main shot caller, basically, that is mostly shooting where to go and stuff like that, but there's normally a secondary shot caller as well who's helping out.
The wingman.
Yeah, exactly, the wingman who's helping out, because one guy, there's so much happening that one guy is hard to actually give all the commands. That is tough, especially when it comes to combat situations. You have every single player telling and calling what they're gonna do, but there's always that one main shot caller who decides how we're gonna engage it and how we're gonna engage it.
Yeah, and do you guys have plans beyond that first stage where it seems that teams have their specific loot that they like to go for and everyone splits up and they don't engage? After that, are there set strats that you guys execute around the map and specific moves that you have ready?
It normally comes to rotations. That's like the main thing, that who goes first, who goes where. Depending how many vehicles you have, do you go for vehicles at the start of the game? Are you just gonna stay and loot, get stacked up and fight? Or there's so many different scenarios that you can.
And the circle obviously is,
yeah,
is a big,
it is a big
variable
difference in that. Yeah.
And Natu, how do you compare those sorts of things with your own experience when you were playing a fledgling esport back in the day, which has now developed into a huge scene?
Yeah, I just think there's so many more variables, and it's obviously the circle being the biggest one, the defining kind of, you know, what kind of scenario, what kind of terrain you're going to be playing with. Is it going to be an urban battle? Is it going to be in the middle of a forest? Is there going to be high ground, low ground scenario? So many little differences that you don't have in a more how would I put it, like a game that has very specific map settings, right? So there's also always that variable which makes every single game a little different. So I think that comes into play, and it makes it harder for you to also build that chemistry, build the strategies, build the rotations on point, because so many little things can go differently.
Adapt.
Huh?
Adapt. Survive.
That is,
just like
that is already a meme.
Just like the
PUBG.
Just
adapt. Just adapt. It's not the game's fault. Adapt.
Yeah.
You can always adapt. You know,
there's
like
a hashtag in here somewhere that I've heard of.
By the way, guys,
Hashtag?
can I have your attention
PUBG
for
related
one
hashtag?
moment? One of our teams,
Ready?
guys,
Yeah.
that's
Ready?
been struggling a lot. Pittsburgh Knights. They who have had a stand-in so far due to one player falling ill with food poisoning, I believe, has actually returned. Survivor is back, and so Knight potentially now.
He's a survivor.
Indeed, he's living up to his name very much so, and potentially now they can work their way back into the field.
I really hope so. I really hope so that they will get it together. It's always hard to just randomly pick a guy, basically, who comes into team.
Do you think you could have stepped in, Andy? You could have jumped
100%. I can adapt.
Then,
Hey, there we go.
but
Nice.
then we would have had to adapt as well, and we would have been screwed.
Well, we could have just pretended to talk to an invisible Andy, or we could
There
have
is the
brought,
Broccoli
we could have
man.
brought in Toby, Moses, Boogie, everybody here,
Listen.
Kelly,
We have the broccoli.
an Avenger as well, and we'll be speaking to those guys.
No one's going to understand what I'm on about.
And we have our weatherman here, Lothar, as well. We should be getting to this game very shortly, by the way, guys. It's going to be starting off very soon. Any final thoughts you'd like to share before we move into the second half of the day?
No, actually, I'm just ready to wait to see the next circle.
Get wrecked, Paula!
What I'm saying, in other words, is let's keep talking, and I need you to say something.
All right.
Listen.
I've noticed. We haven't seen a military circle yet. But like, I think like in client phase, I'm not sure. This might be just speculating, but it might be that there will not even be military circle. I would hope to see military circle by personally, but we haven't seen military circles a lot in LAN events for some reasons. I don't know why. It might be because of the client and stuff, but that affects, for example, Rogue's play. If they're not gonna get military circle in any points, they will not get the advantage of the landing that they go to, and they always go to military island itself. So, and water circles itself, we've seen water, but the water has been always basically minimized after a couple of circles, which always it's a good thing. But like
until we get harpoons in the game,
Oh,
exactly.
harpoons? Is that happening?
not?
Maybe
I want
we'll go
RPG.
whale hunting. Who
water
knows?
mines, something, you know.
I want RPG. That is something I want. Imagine getting an RPG from a crate that you can use basically, you know, just carry maybe 1 or 2 missiles. That'd be sick.
All right. Well, now we know why you call yourself Pyro, and I'm very excited to introduce our second pair of casters. Avenger, firstly, hello, and secondly to Boogie as well, but I'm directing this to you, Avenger, because backstage you were saying that regarding the joke that we were making about one of us stepping in, some of the guys were interested in roping you into play, right?
Yeah, they started out saying, I mean, I was not casting the first 4 games, so can you step in for us? And I was like, I could, I want, like, of course, but Simon,
our boss, said no. And Boogie, how are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I've been watching you guys. It's such a
You're lying. You were playing.
such a
weren't
great such a great flow that you guys have got going on there.
Good.
The feng shui in the analysis room is fantastic. I love you guys for it.
Fantastic. Well, guys, more than happy to let you take it away. Have some fun. I'm sure it's going to be a barn burner.
Take it away. We will indeed. Welcome straight back into it after this break, ladies and gents. We're opening the doors yet again to the first day of the GLL finals. 50 grand is at the stake here, and it's no joke to these teams. They've been performing really nicely so far. We've been watching the matches closely, of course, ourselves. I myself being Boogie, and of course having Martin, Avenger, next to my side. Martin, what do you think about the first 4?
I mean, they've fought so hard through the season to get here, so this is just this is a great way to get all the top teams from NA and EU together, 16 best teams of each region, and it's the first time we see this. I've been super excited to get to this stage.
Absolutely, that's the best point that Martin is making, is the fact that all these teams have worked their way to coming here. None of them, you know, came with any kind of invites. No, indeed, they all had to qualify through the first season of GLL. Of course, there's going to be more seasons to come, but there's some information to come to you guys, maybe tomorrow. I don't know when exactly, but I'm sure that Simon has something really nice prepped up for you lads right there. So it is going to be indeed a cool final. If you just tuned in, don't worry, you haven't missed that much. Of course, you had the first 4 matches, but that's just a quarter, let's say. Let's put it that way in a positive note.
Yep.
We still have 4 matches today, and again 8 matches tomorrow. And today, of course, is Erangel, Irango, whatever you want to call it day. Tomorrow's going to be Miramar.
Yep. And I mean, also, we're moving into a stage here. These players are not used to this many games. We play 8 games in this day, so there's going to be some stamina things. If you could be healthy, you probably eaten through the day. There's a lot of stuff coming into this that's super important. Have you hydrated? Everything. And then I mean, it's going to be exciting to see if these guys can sustain this amount of play. Is Navi going to be able to take one more win? And are we going to see teams going up and down? We also heard Survivor might be coming back. We didn't see him in the game, but he might be coming back. Very unfortunate for him. Food poisoning, not very good.
Yeah, it's never.
You should probably recommend him where he shouldn't go eat. They were here to boot camp. Yeah. They've been here for 5 days.
They've been here for a while.
And it was the day before the tournament that he got the food poisoning. Why couldn't he start out getting food poisoning when they got here, and then it could be 3 days of boot camp, and he could be ready for the tournament.
It would have worked out a bit better for them, but of course they had to stand in playing for him, so at least they had that going on. Props up to the guy. I was actually talking to the guys from GLL. I was talking to him earlier on, and props to him for actually coming into these matches and having absolutely no idea how to gel with this team that he hasn't ever played before with, but it just sort of happened to work. And fair enough, they haven't done the best, but I was watching specifically him, and he was doing a good job. You know, he was sticking to his teammates, he was supporting them as much as he could. Yeah. He started fragging at a certain point in time when he got that confidence. You could really see it in his game style when he started fragging.
Right. And I mean, it's also rough on you as a player. Like when you're not only just missing one guy, but it's also some mental stuff going on that you're gonna feel you're missing your team. You might be going down into a black hole because of that. But you just have to think about it. Just play the game as you used to. You might even, it's just like, it's another guy, yes, of course, but you can still play individually and play it as a team as much as you can, of course.
Exactly true. And we've got some information from the production here. We're starting off the past the break with a remake of the server.
Yep.
The players had to fully connect and commit to it. They haven't. We'll blame it on, it's not on the players though, but we'll blame it on the players, sure. Don't we usually, as Andy said, you have to adapt. It's always on the player to adapt and overcome. And it has become a meme for some of the teams that aren't necessarily the top 5, let's say, per region. For those who are indeed at the very, very top, adapt has become a word with such tremendous power.
Yeah.
Because they actually do that within the boundaries of the game. And of course, they're going to be moaning and whining about
Do you know the story about adapt? Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the adapt story started when the Miramar discussion came up.
Yeah.
And
it was actually from before.
Was it that too?
Yeah.
It really grew through that.
I was in that conversation.
It really grew in the Miramar though. So when people started saying they don't want to play Miramar, they were more like, no, you should just adapt to Miramar. You just need to adapt. But I mean, I think Miramar is a great map. Some changes could make it even greater, but most of the players prefer Rangel.
Yeah, that is true. And here's the thing that we know about. Perhaps you're just tuning in here. You normally watch either the or NA production. I normally see this on the NA side of things when we do the GLL episodes for NA. The American teams, in my opinion, they're much better at Miramar. Okay, let's not say much better because that's a bit of an overstatement, but I think they're better at Miramar because they've been scrimming so much more than the EU teams. But there's a certain factor, and that factor is on your screens right now. So calm and zen and ready to drop bombs, but he just keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. That is the team that might be the upset from the EU side. Indeed, Na'Vi are very, very powerful at Miramar. They're a team that love to play outside. They're a team that enjoy and indulge in fragging. So yeah. I think they're going to be quite happy.
They're extremely good at the micro play. So once they get on foot, they're really good. And Miramar is really a map that you have to utilize being on foot, because you're not going to be able to have your cars off the second circle, because you can just the topography of the map is it's so elevated. You have to leave your cars in first or second circle. Exactly. So and that's I think that's what we've also seen from Na'Vi or Group B throughout the season. They've just been doing good in Miramar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're a team that know how to cleanse the area that they're in normally, and Miramar offers them that option as well. They're very good with cover. They're very good, very vibrant, very powerful fraggers. So of course Miramar naturally fits them. And coming out of the first day, and it's not over yet, coming out of the first half of the first day with 2 chicken dinners already to put them on the first place, man. Things are starting to really shape up here for Na'Vi, and I can't wait to see what these games are going to be bringing. Of course, we're still watching a remake here, just to give you guys a bit of an update. Yes, indeed, we're trying to sort out some issues.
Yeah.
And to remake the server so that we can...
Getting all 20 observers, because we have the map streams as well.
Yes,
so we have 16 map streams. You can see all the... Oh, not the map streams. We have the map stream and the team stream. Yep. So we have a map stream and 16 team streams you can tune into as well. And of course, that's going to take a lot of observers. We also have we have 4 in-game observers as well. So we have many observers and a lot of players to get into the game, so it takes some time. But we want all the teams to be equal, of course. So take some time to get in there. But
that's true.
How do you feel about Miramar tomorrow? Do you think it's going to be more NA dominant, as you said, or is it going to be? Are we going to see Na'Vi dominate, annihilate as they do? And what do you think we're going to see more to? Like what teams are going to do better tomorrow than they are today?
I'm looking at FlyQuest specifically for that particular reason. Of course, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but then again, this is the discussion right now, as we're waiting to get back into the server. But yeah, you opened up a good point there. Who's going to be the team, right? It's always kind of a mystery on Miramar, because you haven't necessarily had that much time to cast and show the games, or they haven't had the time to practice on competitive level outside of the scrim factor. But I'm looking at FlyQuest actually being one of the teams, because they do have that fragging potential, and they are any team who have scrimmed sufficiently, so to speak, in terms of this competition on Miramar. So yeah, I'm looking at them. But now we're looking at Lumbermill, the boys. And the question, I was asking earlier, the question for these lads is, who are they going to accept as a team? Because surely enough, they're going to get signed after this one here. They've been performing stellarly on Arangel through very, very smart rotations and good frags as well.
And this is actually a team that I think is going to do extremely well in Miramar as well, because you've seen through the season, they actually did better on Miramar than the average EU team. So I think they're gonna do. I think they're gonna do really good in Miramar tomorrow as well. But I'm hoping to see a win from the two Danish guys and the Finnish and German lad.
Yeah.
I really hope the best of them. They're great guys and they're really great.
And they have a little bit of a secret in their back pocket when it comes to Miramar. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but
not until tomorrow.
Yeah. They have a very, very good knowledge of Miramar. Actually. That's all I can see at this moment in time. I guess that's not so hidden information. Well, it kind of is, but it's not. I'm not going to give away exactly what they do.
They have some aces up back pocket.
They do have aces in their back pocket in terms of Miramar. So I'm looking at Lumbermill and Navi to be the biggest upsetter on EU, whilst FlyQuest, I think they're going to do pretty good on the NA side. Well, it remains to be seen. We're looking at Crimson right now. Let's talk a little bit about Crimson, Martin, because Crimson, they've changed their playstyle so much. Two of the guys that used to be in blank, right?
Yeah.
Pybus and MBS.
Yeah. The Lithuanian power squad.
They used to be the hot boys of PUBG.
Yeah.
They almost got themselves banned from competitions because of their playstyle. They would just go out and wreck whatever they could. They had that feud going on with Method, the old Method, with the old
the Pachinki,
the Battle of Pachinki.
Yep.
When they drove, they actually drove Method out of Pachinki. Method weren't looting anymore there. But now they've matured. They've came to such a better playstyle, such a more adult, let's say, playstyle, more 18+ playstyle, where they play smartly.
Yeah, and also, I mean, they adapted to, since they got the Kameski Stalber update, where we got Kameski into the game, and they started utilizing that, and I talked with Cal's the manager, and he's like, guys, when the plane is shit for the Stalber Kameski drop, you go somewhere else.
TOS.
And they're like, no, we just drive for 5 minutes and get just Stalber Kameski, because they like the loot, and they like the area, because not a lot of people go through there. Of course, there's face that go through there sometimes. But they, of course, try to avoid them. But it's actually really good loot there, and they don't mind coming late.
Exactly,
they don't mind coming late. Don't mind going 1-2 minutes later than everybody else.
And
they're just
the
gonna,
circle.
Exactly. They're gonna go edge in the first circle. They're gonna start looking into the second circle how that is. But they're a late kind of play, like Rogue. They don't mind. They want the loot. They want all the loot. They're gonna loot all of Stalber. They're gonna loot all of Kameski, some of the north.
Yeah, which isn't to say plentiful, because it's Stalber and Kameski who's not gonna have the best loot in the world. But then again, as you said, they want to just clean up. Just
exactly.
Lap up everything that they can. Little loot goblins, getting everything they could, and they play a smart. First, as you said, they remind me in that particular sense. There's a sexy smile. They remind me in that particular sense of Lumbermill, actually, who play the same kind of strat. They come in a bit late. They scout up ahead. Well, most of the teams do scout up ahead, but some of them do it a bit more intelligently. So Crimson are indeed one of those teams that do that. No Loot Gaming in our faces here. Another org that another team that is orgless. Okay, there you go, sending bisous. Another team that is orgless, and another team that's very, very capable, especially when it comes to grooming beards. Look at Butts.
Exactly. Butts, the fantastic beard from Butts. Last time I saw him was at the Gamescom Invitational. He didn't have a beard, so I had to touch his beard when I saw him this time. And like, hey, buddy, how are you doing? And groom it a bit, right? But yeah, No League Gaming, fantastic guys. And also they had some changes through the last 6 months. And now they're back to the original Power Squad and the German full lineup. Which you can see they really improved. I remember the game they had in the Alpha lobby. They had a 1,000+ win. Where they had
they had a great evening.
They had a really good evening.
Oh yes,
they had like 1,100-ish points. It was really, that's the reason they're here today, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something to be said about this, actually, Martin. There's something to be said about teams playing in their or players rather in a roster of original language, whatever that may be, whether it's Danish, English, German. If you are playing with the same with your co-nationals, it's said in PUBG at least that it makes your life much easier, because it's not the same as CSGO. We see recent roster changes in CSGO. We see Taco going to Liquid. We see Stewie going to SK. That is kind of easier to do, and you see that they haven't even made it perfectly themselves. That's mostly because calls in CSGO tend to be much easier. You say you have particular spots on tiny little maps that you need to remember, and that's about it. But when it comes to PUBG, it's much more varied. How much loot do you need? What do you need exactly? There's an enemy in 3, 4, 5. By the time you see 3, 4, 5 in a different language than yours, then you have that disadvantage. Unless, of course, you're Andy, then you're going to have an advantage at any point in time, because he's such a proficient speaker. How are you doing, my good sir? Come in here. Show you to the cameras. Show you how a chill Andy looks like. Chill Andy coming in here. Well, actually, have a look at this. We're looking at Opti Gaming here. 17. What a man! What a myth! What a legend!
Yeah, he secured second here in the last game. Actually, that's he's an IGL as well. And
he is the IGL.
And he there's really the reason for them being up there in the scoreboard. They got second, and they also had some good average games. So their average placement is really good.
Yeah, but
and yeah.
here's the thing, man. They've yet to re-establish themselves. They're really looking strong to come back into where they used to be. Now, if you guys remember Katowice, they nearly made it to first place.
Yeah.
Nearly made it there, and that kind of killed him. I was watching. I was actually looking at 17, sitting on the side there, watching the boys being congratulated. His eyes were like, my God, I wanted this guy to win so bad at that moment in time. You know what I mean? So they're here to prove themselves. They're here to show up and make other teams sit down. And, well, we're about to see if they're able to do that, because in the first part, we haven't seen so much of Optic.
No, and I talked to 17 actually, and he said the last 2 weeks of them has been terrible.
Yeah.
And obviously, it could be due to some team stuff, or it could be due to they feel like the circles have changed. But here in this client we're playing on right now, they have the experience. They have the experience from OGN. They have the experience, and this is the home soil for them, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're on home ground, even if they are indeed in sunny Romania, as Paula has put it. Indeed, it is sunny out there. We had a full 3 minutes of out time today.
Yep.
Well, no, we actually had plenty of time, of course, while we were looking at the matches. But there you go. Think we're about ready soonish enough to get into the games. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you for holding with us. There was indeed a lobby remake, so there she goes. The big back bird is in the sky, and this is the start of the 5th match of the day. Get yourselves hyped, because we have plenty of PUBG action to show you throughout this day. Indeed, of course, brought to you by Boogie and Avenger. Avenger, my good sir. This plane, though.
Pretty decent plane. I mean, the eastern side guys, the FaZe, the Ghost, all those guys are going to have a little hard time getting here. We're going to have a North George down towards the Novo side. It's a fantastic plane. Very good for Rogue. I wonder, is this going to be the game where we're going to have a military circle?
I wonder that indeed.
Yeah.
Andy was saying that it's not that often. Actually, I've seen it plentifully. I've been to more lands than... I've been to plenty of lands recently here as a commentator. I've had the privilege, the pleasure to do that. But I saw plenty of military services actually. So Rogue was actually doing pretty good on those. Of course, well, granted they have the island to themselves.
Of course.
Generally, with the succession here, of course, with Novo going into Novo Repnoy. Novo have been doing decently, of course, themselves well enough, but I'm still waiting for that mini circuit to show up and see what these teams have really got. Because sure enough, before the match, we had that Kinguin circle.
Yeah.
When they actually ended up 6th because they had a hard rotation towards the whatchamacallem,
the crater,
the
yeah.
craters. Yeah, indeed. So we're gonna have to see if Rogue and Nova can hold on to their own spot. But there you go. Teams are indeed establishing themselves to their normal looting grounds. As you can see on your screen here, a bit of a difficult transition for the Eastern teams, though, Martin.
Yeah, and I mean, also another thing is we had this break now. So these guys, how much time have they spent with the managers and the coaches to see if they're gonna make some changes? And I don't see a lot of changes. Ghost actually did drop here in the west of Gatka, taking the western side here. So a slight change there, but I think it's mainly because of the hard plane. But yeah, Interrogate here, taking some shots at Texas from Ronan, making sure that he's going to keep school to himself.
Yes, indeed. Let's also connect. Then again, it's a bit difficult to do just that with an M16 unscoped. Mind you, now the circle does show up indeed, but to tell us more about the circle, of course, it's going to be your boy Lothar. Let's bring the weatherman.
I wonder if I have any music during that bumper. Is there any music?
Yes,
I don't hear
there
it.
is.
I hope it's like...
It's very good. It's very hype.
Oh,
It's
is
very
it?
hype,
I was
yeah.
hoping for something like an elevator music, you know? Like
Oh,
from the 90s.
no,
Ding,
definitely
ding,
not.
ding, ding. Yeah, no,
Anyway.
it's very hype.
All right, let's go back to the game because there's something interesting happening. As you can see, I did draw the line for the plane, and that will tell us few things about it. Teams like No Loot Gaming switched their positioning again because with this plane, they actually thought that Navi could go into the basic position, which is Primox, but instead Navi is always in Novgorod. Seems like they're not gonna change that for a while, but that is actually affecting a few other teams. No Loot Gaming in this situation is going in the middle of the map alongside Optic, alongside FlagQuest, alongside Ronin, who did try to land in the same position, take vehicles and go into Yasnaya. No one had actually an easy situation there to be safe. So there could have been early game casualties from every single team. And now that will impact the first rotation as well, because all those teams in the middle of the map, they'll have to share loot. They will be very close to each other when it comes to the shooting range, and well, we'll see how how will that pan out. But other than that, on the south side of the military circle, nothing changes here. Rogue and Nova comfortably looting. They're gonna see what's up with the next circle, probably even maybe cross the bridge, but at the same time, if they have boats nearby, that will be not a problem for Nova to just wait for the next circle, cross with boats, be passive on the edge of the circle. What was the order for other teams? There was an impactful plane course. Let's say Lumbermill had to take early vehicles from the Zarki path to be as fast as possible in Severny. Otherwise, they would have been probably even maybe caught up by Crimson, who might have changed their own path if they didn't want to go Kameshki, because that was the one of the options for them. They had to jump from, I think, if I remember correctly, they had to jump from this position and take as soon as possible a route towards vehicles so they can travel towards Kameshki. But if they would never meet any vehicles or just not enough quantity of them, they would probably just go into Severn if they didn't see Lumbermill land there, or just go with their own vehicles. That was a very tricky situation, something that you don't usually see because of the plane path. Other teams, Ghost is in an interesting position right now since they are being split. We have Ghost Gaming on the west side taking some trash loot, as you can say, and then other two players are taking Milta, so their usual position now that Vitality is missing from the map. And that will actually be a weak point for them because they are split. The other team or other part of the team has to travel through all other teams in the first rotation, and they have to meet with the other guys. That will be a very tough quest for them to avoid other teams and meet at some position. So I'm really wondering how this will pan out. That might be one of the storylines in this game. And other than that, FaZe is in a comfortable position as always. They don't really care about last game when they finished 16th. Every other game they felt super comfortable. So I guess that's it from me, and we'll jump back to the casters.
All right. Thank you very much, Lothar. That was very informative and much appreciated indeed. So, as Lothar has said himself, teams are not going to have the easiest of transitions, especially when you look at the north side teams. What do you think is the hardest, let's say, transition for these teams on the north side?
I mean, Crimson here is going to have a somewhat hard transition, but we already see on the map here, we have so many teams super centered already. Nolet Gaming, Knights, Cloud9, Optic, all these guys already fighting for the centered compounds here. We see Nolet Gaming here in the Harry Potter, close to Knights. Drayden only has, he's alone in there, but it's a pretty good position, and we might see some early fights here, super early fights here. We're going to probably see, Nolet Gaming here, they're actually breaching Knights, so they're going to be taking that fight right now.
Yes, they will indeed. Outside is going to be stepping inside the safety of a compound here. It's not going to be safe for long. It does look actually like Drayden does not want to put up a fight. Of course, there is a full lineup of enemies waiting for him just on the other side on south. There's another one, solid FPS crossing by. So Drayden will leave his current position there while Butts Outsider and Artier are going to grab the safety of their current compound. But they're not going to be staying here for too long, of course. They might be moving south from where they are. In the meantime, though, you see Moody on the barns of the south side, which is normally their looting grounds. They normally loot the south side of the main island. And, well, he's going to try to grab, perhaps the edge of that destructible shack. It's not going to be happening. He's going to meet up with his team, and it's curious, actually, to see where they're going to choose to set up camp, because so far it looks like they're heading straight into another team, Shoot to Kill. We'll see how that one works out for them. In the meantime, you see Kingun as well as Navi making their way, Ghost as well, just south of them.
Yeah, and I mean, Ghost already, McCoy already made the way to the other guys here. Balak is still on the western side here, so he left later than the other guys, and they chose not to drive together. Kingun is making their way in as well, coming somewhat late. They're going to go into the first circle and be on the edge, I imagine, and they're going to stay on the edge there until they find out what the next circle is going to be here. Rogue as well taking the high ground on the southern side. FlyQuest has gotten Kaden down, so Kaden is out at our first casualty of the day. Kaisuku's going to drive away from that, and yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen here.
Picking up Kaisuko, let's talk a little about that, Martin, because Kaisuko is a very, very talented gentleman, and we were waiting to see how Envious are performing with him on the roster. Everybody had only praise words for this young man. Anything changed, do you think, for them?
I mean, Kaisugo is definitely a super strong pickup for those guys. Here we see Balak getting taken out by Flackers as well. So they're really camming these rotations here. Flacker is picking up some of those important kill points. And Drayden has made his way as well to the flat top over there. But yeah, as we talked about, Kaisugu, really strong pickup by Envious. And I am really excited to see how they're going to do the rest of the day, but also tomorrow, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's still plenty of time to prove their valor. 17 now, has to prove his. He has a UMP, but he also has an AK at the backside here, and he's running straight into an enemy lineup. Does look like Optic Gaming are going to be making their way close to him. In the meantime, we see some shots popping off, of course, as teams establish who gets a piece of what territory, but it's not going to be fully fledged battles just so far unless one of the teams decide to crash into a compound that is taken. Kraken, though, talking about taken, he is taken very, very low, but he will make the transition to his teammates and will get a chance at a heal without any kind of care in the world. So you called it out. You called Crimson as a late team into the circle, and that they are indeed. They're actually the latest ones, whilst whilst Lumbermill are traveling inside the safety of the white. Crimson have yet to leave.
I mean, Crimson is also this kind of team where unless they have the circle on them, they're not going to do anything early because it's not worth for them. They want to loot up. They want to make sure that everything is good. And Crimson is also a team that they're going to go into the first circle. They're going to go edge. And then when they see the second circle pop, they're going to push into the zone and they're going to make sure they get a better position off that. You see an AWM with the extended quick draw Mac 4 as well. And a little 3 backpack. Kraken is taken out
by Basha Waka, or Baha Waka, depends where you're coming from. That door is going to be popped open. No, it's actually too far away to actually pop it open. There is this new update, right, that does not allow doors to be broken at a certain distance. So this is not going to be happening. Ruin are going to get the res on their 4th. Kraken, which is cracking when it comes to plays. This guy has been really, really good today. He had that little clutch moment there earlier on as well. Kraken, a very, very established player by Ronin. And one of the key elements to Ronin getting their current position.
Absolutely. Also Texas, we saw Texas
as well,
taking out a three Knights guys alone in a 1v3 situation. Super well played by him. Intelligent player, fantastic player as well. And the recent pickup Codamenta as well. The Spanish
Spaniard.
Yes, very great player. And
bueno.
That's also one of the reasons they were sitting at the top of the leaderboard in North America.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Codamenta is actually quite a good gem, and I was actually talking to him yesterday how he's fitting into the team. And he's saying he's doing great, that the team is really accommodating of his own plays and style, and he's also finding it easy enough to transition into their own play style. So that is great news for that one particular team. Looking right here at the map screen, of course, we still see Crimson that have yet to go in. The rest of the teams have made their way safely onto the North Island. Even the 2 teams, Rogue and Nova, who are looting the south side, are putting their bets that it's going to be a north side of circle. And it's a safe bet to make at this point in time because it does seem like the circle strays away from the water about on the 3rd phase. So considering that is most likely going to be a north-sided affair.
Yeah, I mean, you need 2 hardships for it to be on the military. And these guys, they made an early transition, taking the bridge and getting into a pretty good, decent position here. But this is actually the first time we see that many teams being that centered. But it's also because of the area here. There's a lot of compounds. You can take a lot of compounds. There's a lot of areas. Yeah. And then you can hope for the next circle here. We actually see the next circle here. And it's going to pop.
50-50.
It's going to be a 50-50 here. So Rogue is definitely thinking, are we going back here?
Nova are already doing it.
And Nova and Nerf, they left Nerf Me Please here at the gas station, making sure that they could take the early transition here.
Just stepped as the first team on the South Island.
Yep, and it's actually more than a 50-50. I'd say a 55 to the military side here. So all these teams, they're going to go super early transition already now. Meanwhile, we're going to see Crimson taking it a bit slower. Lumbermill as well, going to take it a bit more chill as well. FaZe going straight into the water, trying to get the boats. Gemty already got a boat. And these guys are going to try to transition super early down here.
Yannick trying to put some shots at Larson and his +1. I don't think many of them will connect, so Yannick is going to have to get back on his horse and try to do it. Oh, look at this. It's actually going to be a battle between Rogue and Kingwin. And perhaps we're going to have a chance to look at this one. Yes, we do indeed. So far, it is putting in the shots there. Ilwin has been knocked out, and so is Jazza. It's not easy for the Rogue lads who have a hard time here. Kingwin had the upper hand with the first rotation. Yeah. Now they're putting the screws against Rogue. There you go. That's a kill on Jazz.
And also when you see the Kingwin lads here, when when you see people driving straight behind you, what you're gonna do? Of course, you're gonna pull up and you're not gonna bridge camp them, but you're gonna take the kills because this is a hard bottleneck for them. So Rogue down to 2 guys. Yannick is still alive and Fuffins is still alive, and Kinghorn is gonna stay here for a bit, making sure they're gonna pick up some of those kills.
This must be said though, in the last day and the last few matches, certain teams need more kills to make it into top 10, top 5. Certain situations like that where they have to play a bit more dangerously. This is not the case, so Kinghorn aren't actively trying to camp the bridge. It's just so happened that they're in rotation. They saw their enemies to their backside. Larson popping off a sick wheelie there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just so happened that the team that was behind them was spotted. And I don't think that it might have been spotted unless Yannick did take those shots.
Yeah.
So I think that's how Larson knew that there's a team behind him. He listened a bit more carefully, so that's why they stopped to make sure that they're not going to get glacked from the backside there, which was the normal thing to do. In the meantime here, it's summertime. It's swim fest.
Swim fest. We're going to have the guys with some shorts and some Hawaii shirts on, and they're going to be out swimming, enjoying that calming weather and calming cold water right here.
Yeah, absolutely. It does.
And Crimson actually went for the water straight off. We're gonna have 15 players or so in the water already.
Holy
and Ghost just took the bridge right off after Nova, and they just ran over. Nobody camped and nobody there, and they got a really strong position, somewhat center in the middle.
Yes, indeed. That's a very open area that they can scout all the way to the beach line there. Of course, their enemies most likely aren't going to be coming in from that beach area. They have certain, it's a bit safer enters onto the safety of the land from other places, just east or west of that compound where Ghost are right now. Profi took a shot though, so he's going to have to make somewhat of a rotation. Of course, his teammates are quite close by. They're going to be playing close to one another. They have spotted Nova, and Nova spotted them. So they will make neighbors with that team particularly, but it might become a bit more difficult in the later circles once they have to battle Nova, because they might.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to see a military circle. We even asked for it. I think that's why we saw such a southern circle. We asked, is this going to be the game we're going to see military circle? But yeah, not so fortunate for Rogue leaving their area. They usually don't. They actually, when they see these kind of circles, they usually just wait, and then they just take the West Bridge late, go up. But here they left early and took a pretty decent position in the first circle, but it turned out not to be that good in the second.
True. That it is indeed. In the meantime, Lumbermill as well are coming in from the eastern bridge, as they normally stop by and scout by the farm spot, and then they make their way in, as you could see it earlier on. And now they have a safe entrance into the circle. Nobody guarding that part of the map. And of course, the teams that are on the north side are going to be remaining on the north side just yet. Knights, Navi. Of course, we're seeing a few more teams on that side. I think it is Shoot to Kill, Ronan Esports, and FlyQuest. The rest of them are either on the South Island or trying to make their way in, but it's not an easy task at all when Moody has his aim on you, as Optic soon discovers and goes straight back where he came from.
Exactly. And meanwhile, we actually also see FaZe making the...
Sick.
Nice.
That was a sick headshot, man.
We also see FaZe making it in the way from the south here. Super good decision from them. They're going to come in from the south. They're going to take some of the high ground position, and they're going to be standing in a really strong position here. This is definitely going to be a military circle. No, not much more left here. Yeah. So Knights are going to pop in the water now. Is probably going to take the bridge late. Kingers still have 2 guys watching that western bridge, which is a really good decision from them. They have the compound, probably the best compound right now in this current zone here.
But it must be said, it's difficult to actually keep that compound as a squad. You're going to have to make some friends soon.
You are. In the next circle, if it's still in there, people are going to breach you, of course.
Shots pop off. There you go. Cloud9 are putting in the great shots here. It doesn't look like Ghosts are joining in the fun on the South Island. In the meantime, Shoot to Kill and FlyQuest are at it. Adam Dids trying to put in the shots there, trying to prove his worth to his brother, who is the coach, by the way. Adam Dids cannot connect any of his shots there. In the meantime, his teammates have been rezzed and are healing. In the process of getting them their HP back up. They have a crate drop quite close to them. They could potentially improve their situation because they don't necessarily have the best of scopes at this moment in time. But Lost HC is putting in some good shots there as Adam tries to come in closer to a safer spot. The circle will strangle these teams though. Soon enough, they're both going to have to make their way onto the South Island. It's about a battle of who gets there first.
Exactly, and also this is not a you kind of don't want to stay up here unless it's for a fight or for a crate. It's an M24 with an 8x and a 15x.
Holy
so this is probably the reason that these guys are staying. FlyQuest don't want these guys to get the crate, and Shoot to Kill obviously want the crate because you kind of don't want to stay on the outside of the zone, of course.
There you go.
These guys are gonna go in the water and gonna go swimming straight off the bat.
Yes, indeed. And with that in mind, actually, it's going to be Pentalog caught in behind. Unfortunately for him, Interrogate is going to ask him a few questions about his life. It's not a great answer they can give. His HP isn't fantastic. So there you go. Interrogate coming in with those interrogations.
Yeah, exactly. Pentalog was actually, I thought that Pentalog was a memer, because when Penta was playing, but this story now, when Penta got to Oakland and they were doing bad, that's the first time I saw his name. So I thought he'd just make the name for like.
You were in that, right?
What? Sorry.
You were in that Penta.
Yeah, but after that, but this was for I first saw his name when they were at Oakland, and they did not do that good. So I saw his name in the chat, and it's like Pentalol. Oh my God, this guy made a nickname just to mock Penta not doing good at Oakland. But he's actually a fantastic shooter, a great aimer, and have done really well in shoot to kill.
The next prodigy kid of PUBG, some might say.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. We'll see how he performs. In the meantime, we're looking at Ronin on the screen. Ronin trying to make their rotation, and it doesn't look like they're going to be bothered by too many teams. Their duck just touching the barrels for good luck.
Yeah, the green barrel, of course, the green one.
Barrel, you got to touch that one for good luck.
Yeah, Miracle actually has a big boy gun and a level 3 helmet, so he has a AWM here. These guys are going to dip out. They don't want to stay here now. Navi has made their way onto the side quest here. Take the shots.
The trades back and forth. So shoot to kill have stuck around a bit more. Their flank quests have joined the party. And it doesn't look like the flankers are looking that great. They might get the res though here. It does look like the blue is coming in on them though, so it's going to be difficult to actually heal up, stay alive, try and focus on anything but dying at this moment in time. Very, very hard situation for them. Knights might be able to cap them off if Knights are a bit late to the party. Team's still plenty in the water, but the next circle might not see them there so much. In the meantime, one of the gentlemen from FaZe has been knocked out, but a res will happen. Cloud9 have taken a compound just south of Kingwin. And they're going to be holding on, sorry, not a compound, but an open position.
Yeah.
And they will be holding on to that one. There's a little bit of a dip. They have some trees to work with there. Not plenty, though.
Nope. Here we're going to see the next circle pop off, and it's going to be a northeast and eastern circle.
Yeah.
And it's a really good circle for the guys in the water, so they have some more time to take a decision here, because there's actually 4 or 5 teams wanting to make it into the top side here.
True. There's plenty.
Ronin in a super good position here. They're going to take the house here in the middle, so they don't have to move. Kendgren not in a good position yet, but they have some beach area to move on to, and they can make a great decision here. It's Cloud9 making an early move here, taking probably the 2-2 split on the shit shacks.
On the Love Boy Shacks, let's call them that. Indeed, they're going to be taking them without care in the world, whilst Ronin get themselves breached by Crimson. But they're not going to be too bothered. There's actually one gentleman from Crimson. It's NBS, actually, that's going to get knocked out by Lumbermill out of all the teams in the world. So Lumbermill helping out Ronin without realizing here. Crimson NBS caught out of position. Lumbermill themselves now are going to trade some shots for Ronin as well, but not most of them will connect. In the meantime, we see FaZe at the very bottom of the screen. They're trying their hand at a rotate, but it's going to be a dangerous rotate because they might just be going into the aims of Nova. We'll see how it works out. In the meantime, here's some back and forth from Envious to Optic, whilst Kingwin takes one player down from Na'Vi.
Yeah, so they beached, and they're not going to gatekeep these teams in the water. They want to make sure that those placements go out and those teams go out of court. And we have 8 players in the water still. Knights awakening the mayor over. Nolet Gaming is still there, and Ghost still have 1 guy. So Ghost is down to 1 player, and that's a guy that's swimming right now.
Indeed he is. Kaisko going back into the water. Perhaps he's got some loot to pick up. I'm not too sure what the deal is here.
Looks like he's just trying to check for the water, see if there's other players. Of course, when you're under the water, it's easier to see where the players are, and that's a valid strategy, but still you're losing your gun. So if they're close and you see a guy going to the water, you kind of want to push them at that time here.
Turn into an ocean man.
Yeah. Navi here has taken some shots. Pajama Noda or Uba has been
It's actually Iba.
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 Yeah, that's right. Iba.
Iba.
It's hard to say. But here, Shade and Navi, or Shade and Drainus from Navi has also made their way in. They're trying to push the hills and get on foot. They don't want to stay in their cars, at least.
They're not going to have an easy time actually going against a full lineup of Kingwin, who have a little ridge to work with in the safety of the next circle. Of course, they're already taking their vehicles. It's curious to see what they're going to do in this situation. Perhaps they just want to make their way in and use the vehicle as cover, as Larson is doing right now. Yes, indeed, that's going to be the name of the game. So Na'Vi would have an easier time if they would cross past that bridge onto the south side furthermore. they don't want this battle with Kinguin, so they're going to give it up for now.
Yep.
Eba and Pokemolodoy. Eba actually Pajami noticed, so there you go.
Yeah.
And Pokemolodoy will try to join up with their teammates who are now trying to safeguard them as they cross by. But Cloud9 actually joined the fun, and they will pop some shots at Kinguin. Their position has been compromised. They're going to have to be careful of where they sit themselves. AWM for Mirka.
Miracle, great, fantastic shot. Also called Justy. Yeah, he has the guys in Kinguin has fantastic names, lots of lots of aliases to work with. So you can basically say anything here. FaZe making their way up to Nova right here. So they've gotten their way into the zone. They're pushing Nova slowly. Looks like they know where they are. So they're gonna nade here.
Richie.
Jemty pushing that.
Indeed, Richie almost ate that nade, of course. He heard it and fell back swiftly. Emptied out with that nade, announcing the position of his team, which are already on the back pedal there. They're already setting themselves up to make a different play. But the circle sways up north from their current spot, so there will be a battle that we will see sooner rather than later, of course. There isn't much time for the circle remaining. Now, still a sliver of water left. That must be said, of course. Some teams still have their time to make their transition on land. In the meantime, Optic lose one member, and it doesn't look like a res will be possible because Crimson too strong. Oh, no, actually another lad from Optic does fall. Hypoc as well, falling to 17. That does not spell any kind of good omen for the Optic gentlemen.
No, this last guy left is Hetra, and he's sitting pretty good position. But of course, losing two members this early in the late game is not good for him.
Absolutely not. Nova have made their way into the safety of the next one, are quite close to entering the next white. In the meantime, Lumbermill haven't moved just yet. They're waiting to go into the forest that you see at the top side of your screen where the circle is going to go. Cloud9 have a little piece of the puzzle. Both of the 2+2 are finding themselves in the white. In the meantime, Kaisko trying to gatekeep anybody and everybody coming out of the water. He's going to have to look left and right, though, just making sure that his teammates as well are going to have a safe crossing. They're literally fishing for kills at this moment in time, pardon the pun, as they cannot necessarily have an easy transition south, though.
Would you say this is a valid strategy, going fishing with nades and dynamites?
No.
No, I don't think so either. But some do. Meanwhile, Larsen is taking out Kaisuku and Drainage. They're fighting the two fronts right here. Cool, the Mentas will taking some shots of Iba.
Larsen is absolutely cleaning up that B side there. That gives the teams in the water a chance to enter. In the meantime, Gaxi takes Shade down, and Iba as well taken down himself. So I'm not too sure how Na'Vi are looking at this moment, but I don't think it's great. Oh, look at that one there. Some cheeky pop there. But Larsen will punish that one quite quickly as they try to make their way onto the beach line. They know where Cloud9 is playing from. You're going to have to be careful on that little angle there. Fortunately enough, there's no team to their south. I think they have dealt with Na'Vi. I think Na'Vi have been eliminated.
Yeah, now he's
by
out.
Kinguin. That is unfortunate. Here comes that battle from Kinguin to Cloud9. But Cloud9 have a backup there. Solid FPS, putting in the good shots. Frolic as well, taking Miracle down. Some nades raiding as well. And it doesn't look too safe for Kinguin at this moment in time as Frolicker makes his play on the side. But Larsen takes him swiftly down. However, Larsen, with a sliver of life left, will be brought to nothing by Elusive.
That is Kinguin out as on 12th position, and that's a really strong defensive position here. They went out and tried to defend this area. If they just stayed in there, they wouldn't have made that play.
They wouldn't.
Super
have
well played by Super well played by those guys, leaving 3 guys alive for Cloud9.
FaZe, in the meantime, only with Yemti remaining after a big battle with Lumbermill, who seem to be 4 strong. Not only their squad number, but also their lineup, as they are indeed alive. But Yemti so close to Gustav right now, just waiting for his chance to pop off that shot. Oh, he's playing it slow. He knows he doesn't have a chance to stay alive, so he would much rather push behind Lumbermill instead of taking one.
He wants to join the squad for the rest of the game.
Basically, yeah.
Because you don't want to go out here. Of course, you just want to snake, and that's that's a good decision and very good discipline from Gemty here. Meanwhile, we see the beach popping off here in the north. No Loot Gaming has made the way onto the beach, and they're shooting Knights in the back right now, and only there are 4 guys alive, so they're fighting on the beach right now as it happens.
Yeah, we're looking at, there we go, we're finally looking at the fight as it pops off. NLG are making their way using smokes on the land side, while Profi, last man standing for Ghost, as well as Czech Shooter, last one for Envious. So we'll see how this one pans out. It doesn't look necessarily too good for NLG, as Draydon does have an angle on them there, but Krama being knocked out himself makes things that much harder for the Knights to gatekeep. So there comes Butts taking Krama down. Draydon prone in a very open area. Locknarb from the backside there coming in to help out the teams that are coming out, but not necessarily with anything else but bullets. While the circle has 4 seconds to close in. Here comes Locknarb trying to clear a path against the lads from Ronin. We saw some earlier aggression from them as well, but this time it has to pop off because Nova is outside.
This is a huge pinch right now. We have 4 or 5 teams here. We have Hetra still in the Love Shack right now, and Solid is taking some shots as well. They're super close to the edge as well. Everybody's just making their way into the beach right now.
There's that play from Yempty. He takes one down, but that's all she wrote. Okay, that's going to be phase eliminated as well. In the meantime, Hetroer caught in the shack. He brought down to nothing by Richie here, it seems, while Janssen takes down Check Shooter down. So that's Envious out of the lineup as well. In the meantime, Moody now takes shots at Lumber Mill. We're now caught behind trees. They're not going to chop him down. Chop, chop, chop. Wookie Bookie makes his way quickly to his teammates, but he's in an open position. However, he's putting in some good shots against Moody. There you go. That's the prowess of Wookie Bookie. And he will force Cloud9 to stop peeking at this moment in time. That's a very effective shot.
Super aggressive play from them, as taking all their cars, going straight into the middle, because they're basically in the pinch right now, taking shots from Nova, taking shots from everybody right now.
And that's going to be solid FPS putting Trifity on his knees. The res could potentially happen, but it looks like Lumbermill don't have the best of HP. In the meantime, Elusive tries to make a play. Not working out as it seems here. Gustav puts him down, but one of the gentlemen from Lumbermill has been knocked out, as well as the second one by Moody's nade. Insane power. That leaves Wookie Bookie pretty much alone, and that nade might just do it. It seems to be deep enough, and Solid pulls it through with a Kobe to end Lumbermill on the 6th place. Could get a res as well on Elusive. This could be massive for Cloud9.
I mean, we see Ronin here. They saw that fight, so they're going to push and make sure that the fight is going to get taken here. Knocking Moody as well, straight off that. And Ronin's going to take out Moody and Elusive, so that's down to 1 player from Jolan right now.
That is indeed 5 teams left alive here. Not for a long time, though. As you can see, the circle sways super far away from the water side. Locknar now trying to put his shots onto that water angle there. In the meantime, Ronin staying really strong with a very good chance here. They're going to be breached soon by Nova. So that's going to be the battle. The Solid FPS is going to try to stay alive for as long as he possibly can, but his position is indeed compromised. His enemies know of him. At least Ronin does, but there comes that push from Ronin, actually taking Richie down. It's a good preemptive push. Preemptive strike comes in real nice. Nerf Me Please has been knocked out, as well as Landu trying to respond for the shots, and he's going to get himself knocked out as well by Cold Amenta. Locknarb comes in with a refrag for Janssen. So right now, Nova tried to put some real good shots back, but it's just going to be Locknarb staying alive for his team. Effectively, everybody else is downed. Locknarb now behind a rock, but 20 seconds remain, and he's going to have to make his way inside the circle.
And Profi here came out of the water and took out Lockna, so now he's been beached, and we have 4 teams alive. It's Ghost, it's No Loot Gaming, and it's Ronin, and it's Cloud9. So Ronin here standing 4-man strong in this endgame.
Oh, they don't know. They haven't looked at the kill feed there. It looks like Art here will take Profi down as well. Profi, of course, helping Ronin out tremendously here, and it does seem to be a game for the gentlemen of Ronin here. They have a strong chance. The Solid FPS Prony behind. That's an interesting angle for the UAC. The way it crashed.
That's a Monker's moment right there. He's just sitting under.
He's the mechanic. Solid FPS is the mechanic. He's just looking under the car.
He's fixing the car right now.
That's what it is, yeah.
But yeah, these guys, of course, 4 guys. Yeah, they spotted him.
There you go.
And Kraken taking out Solid FPS. The last guy alive is Art here.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be it indeed. Art here trying to make his way, and it's not going to be happening. That goes to GG and the chicken dinner for Texas. And Ronin indeed are going to be the champions of this here 5th match. Great performance out of these gentlemen, and they show us that NA does have it indeed.
Indeed, they of course they come out of the NA, but they're of course some European lads.
Well, let's call them NA.
We will call them NA. They have one American player.
We got all the best teams. Let's give them that.
Yeah, okay. That's an American win.
What about Ghost Gaming?
First American win for today, right?
There you go.
Yeah. Well played by them. Super well played strategy. They stayed inside. They had the early position, but they took that in a really early phase. They took it in the 2nd phase and were there for a long time.
Yep.
Well played by them and defended that for a long time. Got some kills as well.
Yes, they have indeed. So there you go. Great performance of Ronin Esports, being proactive, being hitting with those preemptive strikes on all the other teams that try to make their way on land. Of course, that the ending of Nova was absolutely beautiful. The way they pushed that there, it was good to watch indeed. So, gentlemen and ladies, you are watching GLL, the finals. It is indeed, and we also have some analysts dissect this match for you, and they're sighing at the background as I can hear them, and I wonder why.
I'm wondering why as well. Andy, what's going on?
It was fine. Like the water circle. That was the sign. Like,
Well,
Yeah, I mean, you kind of. The first thought is that you feel bad for Rogue because Andy literally just
I
summoned.
literally just
You
jinxed it.
summoned this circle.
yeah,
and
I
they,
said that they haven't been in military circle for ages. Like Rogue hasn't had the chance to stay on their own ground and just chill there and have the circle by themselves, the best position, you know, stuff like that. And they leave the military island and it goes there. And then they get caught in the rotation back by Kingwin, which is unfortunate. Lost that 2 members there. Yeah.
Well, for me, as someone that's not as familiar with the hardcore tactics and the possibilities of where the circle can go, I found it very interesting because, like when the circle first sort of appeared around that water area, I'm thinking, where is the circle going to go? Is it going to go to the north of it, the
trust
south,
me, everybody-
south of it? How are the players going to deal with this? How are they going to deal with this central area, which essentially you can't fight in? It's like a no man's land.
Yeah, it's the distribution of.
You're throwing a
over.
dice.
Yeah, exactly. It's on over a river. Then you kind of think of it. Is this a 50-50? It's a 60-40, and then you take the gamble, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Winston Churchill would have been very happy. We shall fight them on the beaches. You know, they were there scrapping out for a very long time around there. And Andy, tell us about what it's like to be in a situation where you get that huge curveball thrown at you.
That comes into the position that basically the ones that are instantly on the move and actually get those rotations going there, they have the advantage. Of course, if the circle would have switched it away from the water earlier, it would have been a lot more effective for a lot of teams on the ground.
Yeah.
But it did not happen, so there was multiple teams there still hanging around while other teams basically on the ground had to move towards the beach that only had certain cover. For example, the sheds and stuff. Like you just had to basically cross the road. So Ronin played it well by having actually that 4 guys still alive in the end, which was basically overtaking every single team, making that good sandwich, good flank on other teams that were not basically on full teams itself. So
Yeah, I mean, it was curveball for teams like Navi, for example, FaZe, who were really going for a south rotate, and then ended up in a scrap between multiple teams on their way towards the circle. So.
Are you guys familiar with Limp Bizkit?
yeah.
Yes.
Let's keep rolling right now over to Kelly and Kraken.
This guy.
Thanks, Paula. We are ronin over here. Indeed, I'm joined by Derek. Congratulations on that win. And I'm just going to go with what the caster said, that's technically an NA win, the first NA win of the day.
Technically, yeah.
Well, actually, talk to me a little bit about what happened with the changes to Ronin recently.
We picked up 2 new members, Texas and Cold Amenta, both EU players, and I think since then we improved a lot. Like, we were able to go over new strats, and yeah, we were playing way more consistent. And I think even if we had like not the best matches now in the very first 4 games, we got 1 good match now. Like, we showed that if we rotated all the way from north. Right. So we had a long way to go. Like, if we get a good position and we get some luck with the circles, I think we showed that we can hold our stuff and close it as a win.
Yeah, I want to talk about those hard shifts. My goodness, we're 50-50 over the water and over the base. What was going through your mind when you guys first saw that and being all the way up north?
We saw it like, fuck. Yeah, I mean, we had vehicles, so we rotated in on edge and hoped like that it might shift back to us north. It for some reason shifted all the way down. Like, water was in, and then we thought, okay, we go water. We crashed water, and we had luck that there was a boat still there. So we were able to take the boat, and we drove down south, checked the whole coast, and didn't see people on the hill. And we saw like, okay, this is our chance, like being the first team outside the water, pushing up north and further south. That worked perfectly. Like, we got 2 free houses there, which won us the game. Holding this 2-2 split was basically the win of the game. Yeah, and I think we were kind of lucky that we found the boat, but also had the balls to not stay in water. Like, push up, take everything, and keep it like this. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to talk about something that you brought up before about how once you brought EU players on, you felt like you guys had a lot better like synergy and you played a lot better. Is there a difference, because we've only seen European teams win so far, is there a hard difference between North American and European play styles? And is it going to be different where we see Miramar tomorrow?
I think there's a little difference in the play styles. I think NA teams generally play more passive, more defensive. EU teams, like, they often crash you. Like, they know that they're good. They come to your like compound and crash you. But I think both like I can't say that a side is better or whatever. Like there's really good teams on both sides. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here, Derek. And is there anything you want to say to the people watching at home?
I want to say hello to all my friends, my girlfriend watching, maybe even my parents. I'm not sure if they're on stream. And yeah, to everyone watching PUBG Esports, keep it up. Yeah, we hope that we can deliver more wins for Ronin.
Well, congratulations on your first win and good luck in the upcoming games, everyone. Don't go anywhere because we have more PUBG action. Let's head back to the analysts.
Thank you, Kelly and Kraken. Now, we still have a few topics to cover.
Yeah.
Andy, you wanted to mention with
Cloud9.
regards to Cloud9.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. That was the moment where I actually got excited.
But then shortly after as well, it kind of went downhill very quickly too.
It went down,
Both
but still,
both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
yeah. When they saw that King Win was approaching them with full squad, they left the shed and they took offensive stands they just went out there and took the fight. The first knockdown and the nade afterwards, taking out 3 guys out of 4, like in matter of seconds, was just beautiful engage. Like the execution was just perfect. Like that's how you want to actually have a fight. It lasts like 10 seconds, squad wiped.
And then further on, when the circle decided to go a little north of them, they had a player who was wide in the open. There was a bit of smoke there, yes, but he got knocked down, and the 2 players in the shed decided to exit the shed and go towards the circle. But instead, one of the players went for a revive. And there was a team that was a little further on that could obviously see those 2 players, and then effectively it left 1 single player alive anymore. Obviously, you're in a disadvantage already with just 2 alive, but it would have been way better for them had they had those 2 guys get into the zone and then be actually gatekeeping for the players that did get those 2 kills on the Cloud9 members. So that could have really turned things.
It was a
bit of a different
misplay.
spin.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are moments like that genuine mistakes that should be ironed out, or is it something that at the time they couldn't have predicted?
You iron it out basically because the blue was moving, and you were not certain are you able to even rest. But the guy who was down there, he was still like he could have moved to the safe zone. And they could have looted Lumber Mill. Check it out, like they have smokes and stuff to actually execute that rest like easier. But the road was the spot where they went, and
too exposed.
Yeah, way too exposed for us. If you don't have smokes, basically it was just open. Just let's try it.
Okay, well, guys, I can tell everybody at home we won't be going to a break off this. We'll be moving into the next match. But firstly, let's take a look at how the tournament placings are right now. Firstly, we'll start with what happened in that last matchup. Ronin came out on top. They managed 9 kills, but they got that first placement as well, meaning overall they finished with 136 points. Cloud9 came in second, and no loot in third.
And our top 2.
Yeah, FaZe and Na'Vi dropping out very early there. Interesting
Crimson
to see
as
that.
well, yeah. But that is the fact when the circle comes over water and stuff. Optic came in, played it really. Not Optic, Ghost came in, played it really well. They had only 1 guy left in the end, and he played for the game. He had the water. Go there.
The Knights, who were really struggling, Natu, just quickly, managed to get 7th place now that they have their, well, who was a missing player before, Survivor back in the mix.
Yeah, no, that definitely helps. I was going to say, Ronin, like, in that interview, they were on about how they had the balls to take a risk, a gamble, just crash in the water. It happened to be a boat there. They got into the island, and they had the advantage early. That's the kind of thing you kind of need to do as well. Right?
You need to react.
Yeah,
like that's the point. Like the ones who actually move first. Like even I've been in a position where we moved to like we're talking about like 10 to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Move too late, and there's already one team there having that advantage.
Yeah.
let's take a look at the overall leaderboard as well and see where Ronin's victory places them now. So, they've moved up into 6th, and I can tell you that prior to that match, they were in 13th. So, you know, it shows you how much a single victory or some momentum can move you up the ladder. Na'Vi still sitting up top, and it's Lumbermill that have moved into 2nd place now ahead of FaZe. They've been having very consistent results.
Yeah,
and
it's still only like with 60 points between the 1st and 6th place. So
yeah, it feels like this field is very, very close in those upper echelons.
Yeah.
Not too.
No, like we said, so a couple teams that have shown through, but the rest of the teams are seemingly very similar. So yeah, obviously over a span of this many games, you will definitely see mix-up. You will see different teams making deep runs.
And look at that difference between the kills. Optic have managed to secure a 4th place after 5 games with only 9 kills, and then 3 ranks below them, Cloud9, have 30 kills. And so it shows you that there is definitely some gaming going on here of the system.
Yes, like we've already got used a little bit in online when we're talking about 10 points per kill and stuff, so it will make a lot of difference. Having like a 20 kill game win basically is almost as a secondary win for you already. And so the 4 points here, like the consistency on positioning and stuff like that, matters more.
And Knights, who've previously been struggling, had, I think it said, 22 kills. So are they getting into engagements and making kills that aren't impactful?
Well, they lose members in that point. You don't want to lose members too early. And we've seen Knight losing members in at least in 2 of the matches, like 3 out of 4, really early. And you don't want to be having that guy who needs to really, really be careful and worry about your basically team placement for 30 minutes of the game. So sometimes you need to decide which one is better. As we see, as an Optic plays, we see that the consistency as just placement is better than just the kills.
Yeah, I mean, Natu, from the background that we have, making a kill is good, right? It's useful, but it's having a very impactful kill that makes the huge difference. What do you see in terms of that today?
Yeah, I mean, in a game of PUBG, it's about a matter of calculating the risk-reward. Do I want to engage? Should I not engage? And then that's the kind of obviously you still get rewarded much more for surviving longer, getting a better placement. So sometimes it doesn't matter how many kills you have. Yeah,
that's
it is kind of weird how that's 1/3 of what,
just under 2 kills per game.
Yeah, exactly. So
we've got some highlights on screen now. We can see Moody going off, laying down some fire and causing a rather raucous explosion. Putting Lumbermill on the back foot.
Moody was not worried about any other team on his side. So basically, he was able to take those shots freely.
This was the point in time where they went for the revive. Cloud9 did.
Yeah.
Just solid FPS was the last one. Then the survive.
There is a reach there.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He could have tried.
Yeah.
He could have tried to just let's just test it out. Let's not take a risk to take out 2 guys.
And so when I look at this, what was becoming the final area, I see quite an open layout. We're not in an urban environment, there's less cover. You've got the water, which you can hide inside, and then a few trees and bushes, a slight bit of terrain height.
Yeah.
How do you navigate an area like this in a crucial moment?
As a Nova player, if you would have had smokes and stuff, I would have not worry about the water guys, because they will eventually come. I would be basically, instead of fighting, I would be fighting for that hill that is there. There's one hill that's both sides, you have cover, and you can have that squad against squad, instead of trying to get those guys who's going to run from the water anyways at some point, and you're basically going to have the free kills, even though they saw the circle coming up far away. So they could have played more that instead of going for the water kills.
Not to?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure there's much to add to that. Really, play for the Terran.
And they got punished for that.
Play for the Terran?
Play.
We playing StarCraft?
No.
Terrain, no, I'm kidding.
Terrain. Terrain. I do apologize for my Finnishness.
No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
But Ronin, they punished them. They backstabbed on the point when they heard that there was someone fighting there, and Ronin came from behind and they took the trades, just the kills. And in that point when there's that less people alive, basically normally those who start taking the empty shots, let's just say that, like the not useful ones, they get punished for that. Because other teams will know like where you are.
It feels like, to me anyway, that once you're approaching that late game, that the mid-game decisions you made are very important, because that's kind of when map control is being decided. Is that wrong or right, Andy?
Well, basically you need to read the map the whole time you move. The more space you have to move, the better in the end. But it is right. You're correct.
Okay, and Natu, so far, are you happy with how these teams are progressing? Do you feel like there are some teams that should be giving more at this point, or any teams that you're expecting anything else from?
First of all, yes, I'm happy, but I'm not sure if I'm expecting anyone specifically to do it. Like being pointing out so many times that the certain teams that you expect to be, I think, you know, kind of seeing FaZe kind of slow down now. Seemingly, they had a hot start, but now have struggled.
That's 2 games in a row, right?
Obviously, there's always caveats, little things here and there, such as, you know, they didn't really have the luck on their side in situations. But then again, also in the early games, you remember going back to game number 1 or 2 when they were in ruins and they had a good early circle, but then it was like a hard shift circle next one, and they had to be maneuvering to the next one. Still with plenty of teams, both in their south and east side of them, and they still could manage to make it work. So I'm not entirely sure because we didn't specifically get to see what happened on their.
I think there was a rotation death.
Yeah,
couple knocks on the hill. Class C9 to couple shots there. Fast players went down and stuff. Then I don't know, they lose helmets and stuff.
Yeah.
Then they had to move towards. I think they should have maybe taken the fight against Nova. That was already there waiting. That Jempty was trading an aid, but at that point when they still had the team to fight with, and basically it was even ground, they could have taken the high ground and just take that fight. That would have made. That's what our FaZe are known for. They take the fight. They're not afraid. They just shoot, and they shoot good.
They have individual skills. So.
Yeah.
All
so
right,
they should have still moved in there.
Great input as always. And I have definitely, as I'm learning more, a wealth more of questions for you guys. But right now, our casters are ready, and also the next match.